What is up, Nerf Herders? Hope you're all doing well out there and having a great day. We are done with WandaVision and we are now on to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we have been super excited for this. Marvel Vision set the bar really high and it was super complex, and now we're expecting to go back to something a little bit more traditional Marvel here, and they hit a home run with this first episode and probably spent the entire budget on this in the first 5 minutes. So we're going to break this down here. This will be a full spoiler discussion on everything, us sharing our thoughts on where we're at with this. But first, before we jump into this, if you could hit that subscribe button and click that bell for notifications to keep up with the latest, and give this video a thumbs up. We're going to jump right into this here. We kick off right in the beginning of the show, getting caught up with where Sam is at, and he's working with the Air Force, and we just go full-blown into that badass mission that we kind of saw in a little bit of the trailers there, and this is such a complex sequence, and the action is beautiful. It looks amazing, and this was the right way to start this show.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all expecting it. This is going to be more of just that classic action movie that we got with, the original Avengers movies, Winter Soldier, things like that. So it definitely delivered, man. The visuals were on point.
Perfect, dude. They were perfect.
WandaVision, it wasn't like the best CGI in the world. It was great for what it was, but it wasn't that top-notch Marvel stuff that we're used to getting with the movies. But this was like on par with the films, which I thought was awesome. I'm really happy that they really brought it there, and the action sequences were awesome. We got to kind of see the Falcon in full gear, full action, and it kind of looked like he had some new gadgets.
Yeah, dude. The way that so we got a little bit of, I guess, these aerodynamic things in the Winter Soldier and kind of maneuvering around with stuff, but the way that he was commanding, like, we got to remember that Falcon's just a human. He's kind of the Tony Stark, where it's just like, you're just a human using tech, which makes it so much cooler how he can kind of stand amongst the gods, so to speak. And the way that he maneuvers around with this looks beautiful. He's dodging through helicopters and stuff, man. Like, has absolutely no fear with what he's doing. And then we get introduced again to Georges St. Pierre, who we haven't seen since the Winter Soldier. So I totally wasn't expecting him to pop in. And they kept him alive through the sequence too. So he's definitely going to play a hand somewhere in the show. But that was really nice to see him come back.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, a little Easter egg to see him in there, and he brought some really great martial arts sequences, which I thought were fun.
Yeah.
And I think just like the overall opening was just a big punch, man. It hit you right in the face, really hard, and it was a great way to kick it off because the rest of the film, or I'm sorry, the episode is setting really up the future of this series and what we're looking at. But this was like kind of a great way to get you immersed,
Yeah, dude, 100%, man. And I love the sequence, dude, when like they're in the helicopter thinking that they're going to make it to the border, and Georges St. Pierre's like, we're almost to the border. He won't follow us there. And he like, the camera shot was perfect, dude, how it was just like not a cut, but just that hard pan. And he's just like, what's up? He's like just sitting there waiting for him already. It's a classic Sam Falcon kind of a moment because he has that arrogant, fun cockiness to him, and it was fun to kind of see that on display there. The scene was beautiful, looked amazing. We then kind of catch up to the emotional side of things, which I really like because they're still recognizing the fact that Captain America had such a huge impact on everything, and we see him, in a sense, retire the shield officially, and he's not choosing to pick up that mantle.
Yeah, I really like, this is one of the things I liked about the Captain America movies too, is I really love how they are treating Captain America as this American icon. They're putting him in the museums. They're telling his story. It reminds me a lot when I was a kid and I would go to museums and read the history of the country and things like that. And it's just so neat how they incorporate that into this. We originally saw that with the Winter Soldier at the very end. Bucky is walking around the museum seeing like the history of Captain America, and he kind of starts to understand what happened, back when they got frozen and everything. So I love how they brought that back. They bring it back to the Smithsonian. They're retiring the shield to put it on display, and then they're kind of walking through that same exhibit that shows Bucky from the 40s back when he was in World War II.
Right.
So it's really neat how they're incorporating all of that, to kind of bring it full circle.
Yeah, dude, 100%. It was really nice to see Don Cheadle kind of poke his head in there for a minute.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was super cool, man. It was nice, just to get that dialogue, man, because all these little extra things that they do, bringing Georges St. Pierre and seeing Don Cheadle, it makes everything feel that much more organic and kind of interwoven within the greater MCU. They're doing a fantastic job of making you feel like there's relevance and importance, and this isn't just, here's a handful of people that were just doing a show. It's all interwoven. These are normal interactions. Don Cheadle would have been there and been a part of it, so we're going to get him in there to do that, and I really appreciate them doing that. And I really, really love, dude, how they are not ignoring the blip. Like, this is history that we have experienced, and everybody is dealing with that in their own way, and that continuously seems to be part of just what a normal discussion is now, and I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, to your point, it's a great point. They're really treating these little series as just as important as the movies.
Yes.
And I think that's really important because before this, we had the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I never really followed, but Marvel didn't really treat it like it mattered. It was kind of just something to put on cable. It's going to have some Easter eggs, but it doesn't really have much importance to the overall MCU.
Right.
And I think this is awesome how they're treating WandaVision, how they're treating this. They're going to treat it with Loki. These are very, very important, pieces to this puzzle. And for this next phase to roll out, we're going to need these stories. These two characters are already very well established, but we don't have much backstory on them. And I love how this set that up perfectly. We have Falcon, we're understanding his family background, where he came from it, and the dynamics there. We see with Winter Soldier, not necessarily his background, because we kind of got that in the Winter Soldier and Civil War, stories, but we're understanding what he's experiencing now that he's back in society. This PTSD, he's having to go to therapy. It's really interesting how they're, giving these a little bit additional information about these characters.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Because when we catch up with Winter Soldier in here, he's still Bucky. Obviously, everything in Wakanda helped him. They cleared out his mind with everything, and he's back to being where he can kind of establish himself in society now. But he's still dealing with the nightmares and everything that he had kind of gone through, and he's going to therapy, trying to work through this, forgive these people. And I thought that scene was so funny, man, where he's kind of talking about the steps that he's going through, not hurting anybody, and he's got to forgive them for and everything. But he does it in such a fun, aggressive, intimidating way, like a Bucky way. Thought that was awesome, dude. And he's hanging out and spending a lot of time with this older gentleman with the guilt of killing his son and just cold blood murder. And that was the nightmare that we experienced, So he's going through a lot right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff going on, but I think that's important because before this, he's really just been a machine. He hasn't really had much personality, but that's fine because that's kind of how he was brought up by the Russians. So, in this regard, it's nice to see that little bit of humanity coming back to his character.
Yes.
And I also like how they're setting up, Falcon is kind of working within this intelligence agency, monitoring these terrorist organizations and things like that. And they bring in this new villainous group, the Flag Smashers, which I'm really interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah, dude, because when the buddy that we kind of get introduced with him kind of goes espionage and he sets up the camera, when that dude jumps out of that second, the second he jumped and stuck that landing, I'm just like, oh man, this guy's enhanced in some way. And then when he kicks him, dude, and just sends him 30 feet across the street into the wall, obviously something's going on here. But now it makes you wonder, did they got super soldier serum? Mm-hmm. Is that still playing a part in this here? Or where are these enhanced abilities coming from? Because this is 100% enhanced.
Yeah, and then going back to your point about the blip, they were specifically talking about how this group formed because they thought the blip was actually a good thing.
Right. I thought that was awesome.
That was pretty cool. So now this villainous group or whatever, this terrorist organization is essentially, they want things to go back to the way they were 5 years ago, when Thanos did the snap. So it's going to be interesting as to how that's going to play out. We don't have much information on them. We see that they just committed a heist, and stole money from a bank. I believe it was a bank, but now we're going to kind of start seeing this play out even more. And I think it's going to be awesome because now, Winter Soldier, he's the only super soldier right now, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's probably safe to assume that once we get introduced to Zemo, we'll find out Zemo's kind of, leading the charge with this new group with everything. And I'm curious to see what kind of a role Zemo is going to play through this, because he caught so much flack in Civil War, and I really liked his character because since they didn't go with his traditional comic book route with everything, but he was like this mastermind who could play chess, in between the Avengers and really created the conflict. So I really loved his character. So now that he's going to actually have his traditional outfit, God, dude, I'm pumped to see how they're going to run with this character in this here. But I think it's safe to assume he's the one kind of leading this charge with everything.
Totally.
And like you said, I love how they're bringing in a more human element to everything. I think they're setting the cards right now where Bucky's having a challenge building relationships, and that's going to come to fruition when him and Sam really bond together throughout this, which is going to be perfect. And then we see Sam struggling with the family business, and you get to see him and his sister and kind of his nephews together and stuff. So these are all really good, character building moments that you wouldn't get in the movies. This stuff wouldn't get fleshed out the way it's getting fleshed out here.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. They really deep dived into, Sam's, family history with the business and how it's struggling. And I thought it was going back to like how they keep playing on this blip idea, how, the banker was like talking to her about her income. And she's like, well, it's kind of hard to earn a living when you don't exist.
Right.
Like that was such a cool way to just like throw it in. Like, damn, yeah. Like what would happen if everyone just disappeared for 5 years and came back? Like, they literally, that 5 years has gone by and they have nothing to show for it. Like, how would that play out?
Right.
So I thought that was a really cool little thing that they threw in there. But I'm really excited on the future of this. The only thing that I'm just like, I don't know, man. I love Bucky with long hair, bro.
Dude,
I love long hair Winter Soldier, dude.
I know.
I think that's like biggest reason why I love him and his costume and everything. So with the short hair, I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm gonna like it. I mean, I know he's got a new suit and everything for this series, so I'm interested to see how that's gonna look. But like, damn, dude, why'd you cut your hair?
Yeah, it's gonna take a minute to get used to, dude. Because dude, in Winter Soldier, he is just like, God, dude, ultimate badass for sure, man.
Yeah.
I think they got off on the right foot, man. I really, really enjoyed the episode. I love how they kind of left it hanging there, too, because once, Sam retires the shield, the government's just like, hey, like, we need this symbol of hope for all of us, which is an interesting thing because that kind of plays into Spider-Man Far From Home when they're just like, hey, someone's got to pick up this mantle for Tony Stark. So there's all this relevance and importance of these characters that we had to say goodbye to. And then they bring out this new Captain America, who I saw in the credits. It was kind of poking through. I believe they said it's John Walker, who's U.S. agent in the comic book. So they're still kind of tying all that stuff in, which is interesting. I was like, oh, this guy's going to be some villain. But I'm like, no, I think he's just going to be like trying to stand proud and be a little scaredy cat. Something's going to kind of happen there.
I predict this will be something where he's on the field of battle and he'll cower out, or he won't be strong enough and he'll get defeated on in public eye, and they're going to understand that they made a mistake by bringing the shield back and trying to give us a new Captain America.
Yep.
Because I was just like, who the hell is this dude?
Yeah. Who the fuck is this guy? Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was a cool little way to end it. It's like, okay, you're keeping me intrigued going into the next episode. So I think this episode or this next one's going to play out really cool. I love these limited series. I think it's going to be overall a really good thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm excited to see where this goes. I think they set it up perfectly. I'm going to throw one little theory out there just because it just jogged my memory since we were talking about who this new Cap is going to kind of be. I'm going to throw it out there that something is going to happen where this new Cap has to get into the conflict with this new terrorist organization, and Zemo and whoever is going to kill him. Like, he's going to get killed, and that's what's going to drag Falcon into this to pick up the mantle. And obviously he wants it now that he's watched this, but I think that's what's going to be the thing that drags him in and gets acceptance for it. I'll just throw that out there. Just thinking about that off the cuff.
That's a good idea. And what would be kind of even more interesting is if he gets killed off and they take his shield.
Right. Yeah, and he's got to go retrieve it.
Falcon has to retrieve the shield, because that's a big part. I mean, that's a vibranium shield. So I mean, it could be totally used to the terrorist's advantage,
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, that's the first episode. This was a great introduction. Marvel's still killing it, man. they're
Yeah.
awesome. Marvel is on top, and they're on their A game right now, 100%. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode as well. Leave some comments down below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this, and what are your favorite moments of this first episode here. This is going to be a 6-episode series, so it's going to be a little bit shorter than WandaVision, although these episodes seem that they're going to be a little bit longer. So we should be getting still a good amount of content with this. We'll be back next week to talk more about this. And again, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We will see you in the next video.